Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3.
Oh, Ms. Henry.
Mr. Hyde?
I'm sorry. I need a motion to open the meeting. Ms. Henry.
I make a motion to open session.
Ms. Henry, I'm sorry.
Mr. Heights?
Present.
Ms. Weiss?
Here.
Ms. Hubbard?
Here.
Ms. Val? Ms. Jones?
Present.
Mr. Davis?
Present.
Ms. Cousins?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Hello, Dr. Borshade and fellow members of the board. Thank you for taking the time and being here this evening. Also, thank you for all you do and your dedication to the students and the district. My name is Jack Anthony. I'm a senior commander of JRTC and president of my class here at Gateway STEM. I'd like to start off by saying standing here right now is both a privilege and a reflection of everything I've learned, earned, and overcome throughout my high school journey here at Gateway STEM. I've learned the value of leadership, whether it's through guiding my peers as the JRTC commander or serving as class president. I've learned that leadership isn't just about giving directions, it's about listening, inspiring, and bringing other people together to accomplish a shared vision. I've also grown academically and emotionally as a leader with the great help of teachers and staff across the building. To me, what's most important is that I've earned the trust of my peers, the pride of my mentors, and the confidence to believe in myself. And trust me, these achievements weren't handed out to me. They were the result of hard work, dedication, and the support from the community here in Gateway STEM. And whether it was a challenge of stepping outside my comfort zone, navigating setbacks, or most importantly, something that I learned from my JRTC instructors, that learning to rise together after every fall, growth happens. When I push beyond my limits, I have overcome obstacles that have shaped me into who I am today. I'm so excited to see what the next chapter of my life is after I graduate. So again, not just as a student, but as a product of Gateway STEM, I'm proud and grateful for what I've learned and achieved from the amazing teachers and staff we have. I'm ready to take on whatever challenge lies ahead. And on behalf of all the students, thank you for believing in us and creating an environment where students like me can thrive, lead, and succeed. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shakira Abiola, and I am a senior here at Gateway STEM High School. I am also the vice president of my senior class. I am honored that you chose to hold your meeting here today, and I would like to share with you my high school experience. During my freshman year, I attended a different school which did not meet my expectations. The resources and opportunities there were available were limited compared to what Gateway offers. As a freshman and sophomore, I didn't engage much in school activities like I do now. But as I transferred, I was able to pursue my interests, particularly in medical science. Gateway has provided me with numerous opportunities to participate in programs that align with my passions and will positively impact my future. I'm also a proud member of the Jackass dance team, where we maintain a GPA average of 3.5, showcasing the academic dedication of our members. Additionally, I am involved in community service initiatives reflecting our commitment to giving back. Therefore, I serve as Lieutenant Colonel in the Air Force Junior ROTC program, where we focus on leadership development rather than solely preparing for the military. And that is also what I want to do after high school. Thank you for your attention, and I appreciate the opportunity to share my high school experience with you all.
Thank you to Cadet Anthony and Cadet Abiola. Thank you. I'm going to turn it over to President Cousins.
Before I start, Dr. Berry, can you stand, please? Can your staff of Gateway please come forward? Is there any other students of Gateway present? Can you stand, please? Or parents of Gateway STEM? Please stand. Come on. We had the honor of receiving a tour from the students and the staff of Gateway. And Gateway is one of St. Louis Public Schools' largest schools. And I want to commend Dr. Berry and the staff for the outstanding work that you all have done and continue to do. I complimented Dr. Berry one-on-one, but I wanted to do it publicly. I find it amazing how you're able to know every student's name and you understand the student needs. When I was at the graduation with you, you were hugging them, they knew you, you knew them, and that speaks volumes. And that's what the schools and our students and families need. So I want to thank you all. What we're trying to do, and the purpose of having board meetings on the go, is for people to really understand that St. Louis Public School is not just about 801. It's about what we're actually trying to do and what we're showing what St. Louis Public School as a district is about. So I want to commend you all. The board, I hope I can speak on behalf of the board, want to commend you on an outstanding job that you have done with the students, and hearing the students when we were walking and talking with them, the love that they have for this school. The young man that just spoke, he actually is, his parents attended Gateway, graduated from Gateway. Another student, he was so proud, he's a freshman. And I was like, did you choose to come here? He was like, absolutely. My mom went here and I wanted to come here. So the pride of Gateway and the outstanding job that everyone is doing, congratulations, and thank you for the love that you have and the love that you give to our students and families. Thank you so much. Spirit of Excellence, Parent University. Months ago, we told you all about the district's plans for Parent University. We are now 4 sessions in, and we want to thank all of the parents who have joined us thus far. Parents have been walking away with practical skills, knowledge, and resources to become active participants in their children's education. Don't take my word for it. Listen to parents speak about the impact of parent universities in their own words.
So I first heard about Parent University during the summer, and I was looking for activities for my kids, or looking how to maybe better interact with my kids.
I like to educate myself. I always like to learn, and knowledge is key for me. So when I first heard about Parent University, it intrigued me to see what's new, what information that's upcoming today, and pretty much how I can enhance my parent skills.
My daughter was in 3rd grade, and I know 3rd grade is important when it comes to assessment and reading and her skills, and so I just knew I needed to go back to school with her, so I figured I was going to get something from it.
So I've been really happy with it. This is the 4th session I've been able to make, and each time I can come back with more skills, more knowledge. So oftentimes they have a fair amount of free items they're able to give away, so books or other type of tools that I can use to interact with my kids.
Me and my child struggle with language and how to express our emotions. So Parent University so far has helped me guide her emotions. That way I don't become frustrated and I can help her manage her emotions better.
Just having a home library. Like, I take her to the library and, you know, just making sure that she's reading. Not necessarily she has to do a book report, but making sure that she has an interest in reading on her own. And that was something that we learned. Like, it doesn't matter, you know, not necessarily what they're reading, but just make sure that they're reading.
You know, initially I got the books and I was like, well, my kids are just emerging readers. I'll read them to them. And they said, actually, there's something more you could do with that. If you follow the QR code, you can watch the video there, and this is how you can have the kids read to you. And so we were able to take the books from maybe a one-dimensional learning activity of me reading to them to like, you know, 2 or 3 different ways to use the books. There were questions at the back of the books and asking the who, what, where, and, you know, and when type questions, and just to get more interaction, more engagement with my children.
I guess my greatest takeaway is just that you need to be a lifelong learner as a parent. You know, you don't know everything. So I like that I get to grow with her.
I am learning how to handle my son. It's difficult me as being a female parent. I'm learning to understand young males in the toddler stage that's evolving into a young teenager. My guide here is to learn how to be a better parent for him.
Remember, Parent University is held on the first Thursday of every month, concluding with a special graduation event in May. Don't miss out on the amazing opportunity to support our children's success. Special thanks to the Family and Community Engagement Office of Student Support Services for providing this valuable resource to families. Dr. Borshade.
Thank you, President Cousins, members of the board, and to our audience. For our Spirit of Excellence, tonight we celebrate the Spirit of Excellence through incredible talents of Eric, Miguel, and Ben. I would ask that Mr. Gravelhouse please come to the front. Our 2024 Safety Contest Award winners will be recognized tonight. Mr. Gravelhouse has displayed their stunning artwork at the central office to showcase their creativity and dedication to safety. It is our goal to ensure that their work is also displayed in the Lambert International Airport and St. Louis Art Museum, where we showcase other SLPS artwork. Now let's take a moment to hear these exceptional students and learn about the inspiration behind their award-winning art pieces. There's a video that will go with this, and then we will bring our students forward.
Our project was safe driving or non-safe driving, and you could like choose any of those two. And I really only saw texting and driving, and like listening to very high music while driving, or like calling and driving, things that like people do every day and don't really involve in crashing. So I thought of drink driving is a better non-safe option. I just thought it was more interesting. I thought it was more like impactful on different people. I just wanted to represent something a bit more like, I guess not meaningful, but more like realistic. Probably the like coloring that I did and the pop-up at the very end where it says crash. I think that's probably what set me apart from like other runner-ups with a comic and the pop-up and the colors.
I use paint and color pencils and a Sharpie so I can trace it with a pencil, and that's it. Oh, I draw the nose like a street in the nose, and then I draw a ice with cars speeding fast, and the other ice, the stop sign, so you can be safe on the street when you're around the street.
I was trying to convey that fear that children may encounter, or that whenever people don't have that sense of fear whenever they're driving. That's mainly the theme I'm trying to convey. I usually do wear seat belts, but sometimes I don't, which is really a bad thing. So I use that as one of my images during my creation. I would say the car crash in the bottom image. I would say that's the thing that I like the most about my artwork. I just like that empty feeling that the artwork portrayed. It's probably because it's the only digital painting in the whole contest. So that's probably the main thing that separated from the other artworks.
So this evening, we're going to honor them with a $50 cash card and a certificate. Go ahead.
Your mic's not on.
Got it, thank you. Yeah, and the video we saw, those were the first place winners in the high school, middle school, and elementary categories. But as you see, we have a whole lot of other winners as well. Most of them are here with us tonight. Good evening, Dr. Borshade and school board. 2024 marks the 15th year of the St. Louis Public Schools Kevin Coyne Safety Art Contest. This year's theme is Street Smart Driver and Pedestrian Safety. Art students from every grade level were instructed to visually portray safe practices for adult and teenage drivers and how to take care as a pedestrian, especially for our scholars who walk to school. As I was visiting art classrooms this fall, I witnessed students of all ages researching, dialoguing, and brainstorming around this topic with profound insight. I'm very gratified to see our artist scholars prioritizing these issues and considering ways of taking leadership to make our community and country a safer place. The entries are on display, as you say, throughout the first floor at 801 North 11th, and we have copies framed on display here with us tonight. They can also be viewed on the district website. The winners were selected by a panel of judges from the SLPS curriculum and team and risk management and compliance departments. The prizes of $50 cash cards will be awarded to winners first through fourth place in each grade level and are furnished by generous donors to the St. Louis Public Schools Foundation. Honorable mention recipients will receive a certificate of achievement. And I also just like to make a comment too, for a lot of our students, for many of our ELL students, while they're still learning to speak the English language, they have the opportunity to clearly and powerfully express and communicate through art. And it's very exciting to see, and it's exciting to see them being recognized. I would like to recognize the support and dedication of the school principals, art teachers, and parents and families. And most of all, I would like to commend these outstanding students for their dedication to artistic excellence and community safety. Most of our winning students are here with us tonight. So how would you like to do this? We'll bring them all up here, okay, one at a time, and we'll do a group picture. Is that how we're going to do it? Okay, great. Excellent. Okay, so I'll start with in the elementary category. I know tonight we have with us, and we saw him in the video, Miguel Mercado Magana from Oak Hill Elementary and his art teacher, Anna Wenger. So come on up, Miguel. The second place winner from Nahid Chapman, I believe, is not with us here tonight. Sanala Marbach, but the third place winner is with us tonight, I believe. That was the plan. Heba Mashal from Warner Elementary. There she is. From Warner Elementary, and her art teacher is Stephen Pipitone. And we should also have the fourth place winner from Betty Wheeler, Cora Patel. Come on up, Cora. Cora's art teacher is Jennifer Betha. And we should have some honorable mention students with us also tonight, I believe. Micaiah Smallwood, is she here? Come on up, from Oak Hill Elementary. And Evelyn Baruch, also from Oak Hill Elementary. Is Evelyn here? Wonderful. All right, let's keep going. This is fun. And then middle school, the first place winner, who we saw on the video from Carnahan Middle, Eric Fletcher. The art teacher is Izzy Porter. The second place winner, not here tonight, is Alexa Parsons-Mental from McKinley Middle School. The third place winner from Carr Lane is Brayla Collins. Come on up, Brayla. Art teacher is Lachey Williams. And I believe the fourth place winner is with us tonight as well, also from Carr Lane, Corey Frazier. And we have three honorable mentions also from McKinley who are not in attendance with us tonight. All right, and let's move on to the high school category. So for first place, who was featured in the video there, and forgive me if I'm not pronouncing this correctly, but Vin Hoa from Roosevelt High School. Yes, his art teacher is Sarah Haig. And then second place, also from Roosevelt, Jemiah Howard. Okay. And third place, also from Roosevelt, Lydia Scroggins. Come up, Lydia. And high school, from Sumner High School, Daryl Jackson. Is Daryl here tonight? Okay. We have honorable mention student Jennifer Marcos from Metro High School. She's not with us tonight. Wherever you are, good job, Jennifer. And last but not least, honorable mention student also from Sumner High School, Andre DePass. Is Andre with us tonight? I don't think so. Okay. Very good. Do we want to leave their framed art up for the rest of the evening, or do we want to give it to them to take home with them tonight? They're going to take it with them. All right, very good. So tonight you're going to get your certificate, your cash card, and you're going to be able to take your framed artwork home. So why don't we have the students just step over here, and we're going to get you your artwork, and then, well, how would you like to do that, Dr. Bourget? Do you want them to go back to their seats, or? Yeah, okay. All right, so go back to your seats. Okay. And before I conclude, again, I would really like to, all of the building staff, the art teachers, the principals, and the parents and the families of these award-winning students, would you all please stand up, because they can't do that without you. We really appreciate the work that you do. It doesn't go unseen. We believe in your work, and we're very proud of you as well. Thank you. Thank you.
Once again, thank you, Mr. Grapperhouse, and congratulations to all of our art winners. At this time, we would like to celebrate Spirit of Excellence through outstanding achievements of our SLPS students who participated in the recent HBCU tours, which stands for Historically Black Colleges and Universities. We are proud to honor Alexis Berry, Kaylin Smith, Caleb Clark from Vashon High School, who received Come on up, come on up, come on up. Who received acceptance from Clark Atlanta University. Additionally, Austin Ware from Metro High School, who earned admission to Fisk University, and Dominique Lucas, also from Metro, who have been accepted to Spelman College. Wow. These remarkable students excel not only in academics, but also in athletics and leadership, reflecting well-rounded excellence of SLPS scholars. Their accomplishments are part of a larger story of success in SLPS. Out of more than 1,100 seniors in our district, also over 300 students have already been accepted into 2- or 4-year colleges and universities, a testament to the dedication of our students and educators alike. In recognition of their achievements, we have also a gift box for each of them. And inside the gift box, there's a water bottle, books to read, and to help them prepare for the next level. It's also a small token of our pride in your accomplishments and our beliefs in your continued success. I'm going to go ahead and hand these out, and a letter from the Clark. Just Clark? Okay. Thank you. Yes. Each person would receive.
Everybody this way, please. This way, this way.
Yeah, that's what's up.
Can I get a whoop now?
Thank you, parents. Thank you, seniors. Thank you, artists. Now on to board business. I need a motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from Tuesday, October 8th, 2024.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussions? Ms. Henry?
Mr. Hikes?
Yes.
Ms. Weiss?
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard?
Yes.
Ms. Bowles? Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Cousins?
Yes.
Motion passed.
I'll make a motion to approve open session minutes from October 14th, 2024.
Second.
Any discussions? Ms. Henry?
Mr. Hikes?
Yes.
Ms. Weiss?
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard?
Yes.
Ms. Bowles? Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Davis? Ms.
Yes.
Cousins?
Yes.
Motion passed.
I'll make a motion to approve open session minutes from November 22nd, 2024.
Second.
Any discussions? Ms. Henry?
Mr. Hikes?
Yes.
Ms. Weiss?
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard?
Yes.
Ms. Bowles? Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Cousins?
Yes.
Motion passed.
I'm turning it over to Dr. Borshade for presentations.
Thank you. At this time, we will hear from Ms. Walker. The first presentation you'll hear is on reading progress, which is centered on how students who need additional support with reading can practice, develop, and enhance their reading skills. We'll go listen to Ms. Walker.
Good evening, President Cousins, Vice President Davis, board members, Interim Superintendent Dr. Borshade, and listening audience. My name is Simona Walker, Director of Technology Services, and today I'll be talking about reading progress. So on this slide, we talk about our SLPS strategic values and our values across our student goals. Our student success goals, focusing on third grade reading. And then our portrait of a graduate, being college and career ready, being a change agent, critical thinker, a communicator, competent, culturally aware, and a collaborator. So reading progress is a transformational way for students to enjoy and be an active part of advancing their reading fluency and skills. Educators can upload a reading passage from Word or a PDF document, or quickly select sample text provided by ReadWorks. Students then read the assigned passages aloud and submit recordings that can be accessed by the educator at any time. Educators can select students from their class to assign distinct passages based on their reading levels or interests and allow for multiple attempts. At this time, we're going to watch a brief video on reading progress.
Literacy is so important, and it's my job to help the kids grow in that and to see the value in that and to break the mindsets of like, oh, I'm just a bad reader, I don't like to read.
I don't have to worry about other people just looking at me and staring at me. It's just reading to myself, sort of, but on camera.
When I came across Reading Progress, I was able to say, hey, I've assigned a passage to each and every one of you guys. At your reading level, I want you to record you reading this passage. I was surprised that when the whole class came back literally within 10 minutes, everyone was already done. Having that recording, I'm able to spend ample amount of time to analyze, and instead of using my instructional time, it allows me to use my planning time to figure out how do I intentionally approach every student. The whole class, this is what I'll teach them, and maybe this one specific individual student, I need to address with him or her this specific area. Reading progress has really motivated a lot of kids to work harder and kind of gave them ownership of their learning.
Well, as a mother and an educator, you know that the conference with the student is the most powerful piece. It's not necessarily them reading and recording, it's what you do with that reading and with that recording. And she's able to capitalize on that even faster now.
It probably helps me be a better reader because I can actually listen to myself. And if I did say a word wrong or something, I'd be able to say it better than next time because I know that I said it wrong.
Struggling readers, they struggle, so they avoid reading. And by avoiding reading, they struggle even more. And so it's been really cool to watch how my kids are, reading more at home. They're more excited to read in the classroom. They have their personal goals that they've made, not me. And so they're excited to work.
Coming from an administrative perspective is that this isn't just a classroom tool. Because we have so much access to data, that this is a powerful tool to change the learning trajectory of a building. But watching her grow in her reading, it's been a joy for me. I used to love reading as a child, and I wanted that for her.
Now that we use the app, I'm more confident. I'm less worried about it. I get worried about a lot of things, but reading now is one of the things that I'm not worried about anymore.
I want all of my students to get to the point where they know what it feels like to get lost in a book.
Favorite part is when I get to a really interesting part in the book and then I can't stop reading it, and it's really fun.
So that was just a brief video of what Reading Progress is and how it's used in other districts. We in technology have been working with teachers across the district to introduce Reading Progress to them, and hopefully one day soon we'll have our own video with our own parents and students and teachers talking about Reading Progress. And then again, this is just an overview. It helps provide fluency practice opportunities more often. It allows for educators to differentiate their instruction, and it also helps educators save time with AI-assisted review. Thank you. Any questions?
Board Member Wise.
Thank you for the presentation. Just curious, how will you capture teacher feedback? So once teachers start rolling this out in their classrooms, how will you capture that feedback and data from our educators to hear from them? How is this going? Is it really working? How are students connecting with this? And
so I don't have the data right now, but eventually we will. Okay. We'll be working with teachers to capture their feedback.
And that'll be through your department, working with them to capture that information?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Board Member Jones, Secretary Jones.
So what grade level are we going to focus on first, or will this be an overall reading program for the entire district?
We've been working with all teachers on this, so no certain grade level right now.
Okay, so do parents have to contact the principal, or does it start with talking with their teacher?
So this is through the teachers assigning assignments in Teams, in Microsoft Teams, which is a program that we have on all of our district equipment.
Okay, so are the students automatically assigned to this program, or do they have to experience some kind of difficulty where the teacher would recommend this to the student, parent, or whatever?
A teacher can assign it to any student, so it's however the teacher assigns it.
But the parent can ask?
The parent can ask, yes ma'am.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, and at this time, I would like to talk about the technology conference that happened in November. We had over 450 parents and students that attended our technology event.
Director Walker, I think you had one more question for Board Member Hubbard.
Sorry, I thought of it late. Do we as a district, and maybe this is also for Dr. Bourchade and maybe Matt, have a policy on use of AI in the district, both for students and as
we
the
have-
district goes?
We have principles regarding AI, and I believe those principles were listed in our student code of conduct that the board approved.
Okay. And I appreciate the work that you're doing, and I also don't think children should have to deal with Microsoft Teams. Personal philosophy that I want to have on the record. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, ma'am. All right, so we were talking about our technology conference that we held in November. We had over 450 students and parents that attended. They were able to experience all things tech. So they rotated to different spaces where they were able to experience Z-Space. They were able to go into the communication center and record a video and then go out and edit it. They were able to participate on the LU, the interactive wall that is in our elementary and middle schools. They were able to take class field trips and different things like that. As the students went through the different activities, they received a ticket, and they were able to take their tickets and enter it into whatever prize they would like a chance to win at. So this time, I would like to announce the winners of those prizes. So our 3D printer, Alice Naveau from Malincrot. Come on up, Alice. Our MakeBot, Eon Stewart from Gateway Elementary. Not sure if he's here. Our Spiro Ball, Susan Diaz from Washington Montessori. Our Dash Robot, Malachi Marshall from Shaw VPA. Yep, there he is. Our Merge Cube, Demir Gary from Wilkinson. I think Demir's here. Our Nintendo Switch, Aaliyah Queen Farrell from Betty Willer. Ramsey Tubbs from Long, a $50 gift card. Nakeen Lee from Madison, a $50 gift card. Wise Amiri from Long, it's not here. Elijah McDowell from Malincrot, a $50 gift card. Madison Jones from Mason, a $50 gift card. Jeremiah Hinton from Compton Drew, $50 gift card. Ben Fayala from McKinley, $50 gift card. And then Kristen McCain from CSMB. Thank you all.
Yes. And now we will hear from Dr. Pollack and Dr. Bailey regarding our sponsorship with Confluence. They will provide an update on the work that is being done there.
Good evening. My name is Isaac Pollock. This is Dr. Tanya Bailey. And I'd like to introduce the rest of the team, Ms. Latasha Smith and Dr. Dino, of course. Together, we represent the Charter Sponsorship Office for St. Louis Public Schools, and we're excited to give you an update on our first year of sponsorship of Confluence Academies. So, of course, everything is driven by our strategic values and our goals, both for ourselves and for all students in the city, and then, of course, driven by our Portrait of a Graduate. So tonight, we're going to talk through the basics of what a charter school is, the definition of a charter school, responsibilities of a charter sponsor. We're going to talk about the history of sponsorship for Confluence Academies and SLPS. We'll talk a little bit about Confluence background. We'll give a summary of accountability and feedback measures, and then we'll actually give an update on the accountability measures and 23-24 results. We'll talk through a little bit about the feedback measures and then next steps. So first, I'd just like to go over the definition of a charter school. A charter school is an independent nonprofit, and it's governed by independent boards. Sponsorship of charter schools. So there are three kinds of institutions that can sponsor in the state of Missouri. Those are accredited school boards, qualifying universities, and the Missouri Charter Public School Commission. Currently, there are 6 charter sponsors in St. Louis, sponsoring 16 LEAs and across 37 schools. In addition, each sponsor receives 1.5% of the state and local funding in order to pay for that sponsorship. So we are currently in 22 and 23. Confluence Academies was approved by DESE for a 5-year contract term that concludes in 26-27. We entered in December of 22, where the sponsorship was approved by the board, and then in July of 2023, we established our sponsorship agreement with SLPS and Confluence, and the sponsorship began. So you'll see that Confluence operates 6 schools across 5 locations, because Grand Center Arts Academy is considered 2 schools in the same location. They have 2,504 students for an overall utilization of 63.47% in their facilities. You'll notice that the slide indicates that they have 2 comprehensive schools. Those schools are in the bottom 5% of have been identified as schools in the bottom 5% of the state. That is Confluence Preparatory Academy and Old North Academy. You'll see that in 23-24, the overall enrollment was 2,374, so they've increased since last year. That increase was driven by gains at Confluence Preparatory Academy, Grand Center Arts Academy, and South City. So our sponsorship responsibilities fall into 2 categories. The first is around accountability. Those measures are governed by our contract and our performance agreement. That's high stakes. So their success on the accountability measures determines their renewal in 26-27. Those are in 3 main areas: academic outcomes, governance and operations, and finances. And then in addition, we also submit an annual quality assurance checklist to DESE. In addition to that, we also provide feedback quarterly. That's outlined in our charter sponsorship handbook. That's not high stakes. It's an opportunity to provide useful feedback to the charter school, and that's in 13 domains, which I'll describe in a moment. So one thing before we get started is that Confluence participates in the Success Ready Students Network, the SRSN. This is a network that Missouri has established. Currently, there are in the first round, there were 19 school districts and 1 charter school, which was Confluence. And then there was a second round established of 17 additional districts, and then a third round of 17 additional districts. So currently, 53 school districts in the state of Missouri and 1 charter system, which is Confluence, participate in the Success Ready Students Network. So what that means is that they still take all the MAP assessments. They still receive an MSIP 6 APR result for federal purposes, including comprehensive status identification. They also receive an alternative APR result based on their local assessments. They take a test called NWEA. And so what that means is that all of those districts are actually held accountable to this NWEA assessment, not to MAP. All of those 53 school districts in the state of Missouri. That alternative APR system is collaboratively developed this past year and over the next 2 years with DESE and other SRSN districts. We were advised by DESE that in the absence of APR, or while participating in the SRSN, that we should be modeling ourselves after DESE and using these local assessments instead of MAP. And so therefore, our contract with them states that in the absence of APR, or while participating in the SRSN, that we evaluate them on local assessments. So these are the two measures that we measure them on. The first is that 95% of tested students in specified grades and courses will demonstrate growth on NWEA reading and math assessments. The second is that 50% of their tested students in these specified grades and courses will meet or exceed annual projected growth goals. Tested students means that we are looking at matched students, so students who started in the, who took both the fall and spring NWEA assessments at any Confluence Academy school. That way we could see their growth over the whole year. And then we only looked at grades that were similar to the MAP, so 3rd through 8th grade and Algebra 1 and English 2. So this is the accountability results that we have so far. So you'll notice that across the first row are the performance on measure 1, which is that 95% of students would show growth. And on the second one is that 50% of students would meet their growth goals. In 22-23, that was before our sponsorship with them. So that was under a previous sponsor, so that we do not have data. That was also before they were under the SRSN. 23-24 was this past year. In math, 83% of their students showed growth from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. And in reading, 68% of students showed growth. So in both of those, they did not meet their the goals under measure 1. Under measure 2, 51% of students met their individual growth goals in math, and 51% of students met their individual growth goals in reading, so both of those were considered met. You'll notice that this we'll keep this same slide over the course of several years, that in 24-25 this year, we'll update it at the end of this year, and then 25-26 we'll update it at the end of that year. And then you'll see in 26-27, that is the 5th year of the term, but this board will have to make a decision about renewal during that year. So there won't be 26-27 data. The decision will have to be made based on 3 years of data from 23-24 through 25-26. So in addition to the high stakes accountability measures, we also provide feedback measures that's across 13 domains. It's measured across the year, throughout the year, through observations, interviews, document reviews, and assessment data, and you can see the categories. We do that through a September initial beginning of the year visit to all of the schools, and then quarterly visits. You'll notice that in quarter 1, we visited classrooms and completed teacher interviews, and we've already provided that feedback to Confluence. Quarter 2, we completed facilities walkthroughs. We've completed those, but we're in the progress of providing that feedback. In January and February, we'll go back to classroom visits. We'll do a deep dive into their IEP process and document review, and then we'll also go through human resources with them. And then in quarter 4, we'll do a review of their curriculum, PD, technology, strategic planning, policies, and board leadership. So more of their governance pieces. In addition, we also collect documents from them, and you can see the cadence of collection. We are pending on July and August and September through December, although we've received everything from last year, so we anticipate receiving those shortly. So next steps for our office, we're going to continue our execution of sponsorship responsibilities. That includes site visits for quarter 2, which we've already completed, quarter 3 and quarter 4. That includes the document submissions, the DESE assurance checklist, which we anticipate would come out this month, and then finalizing our 24-25 annual report at the end of this year. And with that, we will pause and take questions.
Any questions? Vice President Davis. Seeing none. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you very
Pollard.
much.
Thank you for that presentation. We will now move into our academic presentation. We will hear about our APR. We'll hear about summer school, Saturday school, graduation dates, and HBCU tours. I'm especially excited about our academic presentation, which we will share information about our APR. One of the things that you should know is that in 2021, 2022, our overall points were 115 out of a possible 180, which yielded us an APR score of 63.8. In 22-23, our overall points were 121 points out of a possible 192, which gave us an APR score of 63.2. In 2023-2024, our overall points were 131.5 out of a possible 200. That means there is a 10-point growth. You'll also note that when we get to slide 14, SLPS has grown in ELA and literacy, and Dr. Dino would talk to us about the rest. I'll turn it over to you, Dr. Dino.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President, members of the board, Dr. Borshade, members of the audience. I'm Allison Dino, the Chief of Schools. I'm here tonight with several members of my team to provide you with an update on all things, many things in the academic department. All of the work we engage in is centered on our strategic values. In tonight's presentation, we focus on equitable and multiple sources of data, joyful and engaged students, personalized supports and innovative pathways, and college and career-ready critical thinkers. Each section of this reports to at least one of our student success goals, and when we review at the beginning our annual performance report, it will hit on all of them. We aspire to have all of our students meet all of the competencies of our portrait of a graduate. Near the end of our presentation tonight, you will get to hear from two of our future graduates who participated on the HBCU tour, and they are going to share with you more then. Our agenda for this evening will review our annual performance report, and we have members from our team. Dr. Letitia Smith will be here to share an update about the Saturday Success Academy. Ms. Natasha Mitchell will be here to share some news about upcoming summer school planning. Dr. Henning will be here to provide us a brief aviation program update, and Dr. Sherman, along with Ms. Alexis Berry and Ms. Dominique Lucas, our students, will be sharing some information about our HBCU tour, and then we'll end with sharing where we're going, all of our different graduation dates and venues and times for our graduation in May of 2025. It's never too early to save the date. Now on to our annual performance report. We begin tonight with the classification schedule based on MSIP 6. This is our timeline from DESE's Office of Quarterly Schools. This is the timeline upon which classifications or your accreditation status may change. I want to note here that districts will only have their accreditation changed during the 24 and 20, using 24 and 25 data in the upward trajectory. And so since we are already accredited, there's nowhere to go up for us. Districts may have accreditation decreased or increased using a combination of 25 and 26 composite data. And so we do not anticipate any changes in our classification status over the next few years. As Dr. Borshade shared, in MSIP 6, our annual performance report points, we are able to earn up to 200 each year. 140 of those points are for performance, and 60 of those points are in the areas of continuous improvement. As we work through the slides this evening, you'll be able to see in each area where we are at. As you note, our percentage of APR points earned category in academic performance, we have increased up to 59.6% with our data from 2024, and there was a slight decrease in our continuous improvement section from 92 to 80%. There's lots of reasons for that, one of which is that DESE changed some of their reporting structures and what they were gathering information on, and so that changed some things for us. That still resulted in a net overall growth of 65.7%, or to 65.7%, excuse me. In the area of academic achievement, we receive points both for academic status and academic growth, we're going to talk about both of those this evening, in two categories. One is the all students group, and that considers data for every student in the school system. The next is in what's called the student group, and the student group is comprised of students who are identified as low income, students with disabilities, English learners, and our state's major racial and ethnic groups, our Black students and our Hispanic students. These are traditionally students who've been underserved by public schools, and so that's why they are also separated into this individual group. Really exciting news here. In order to receive full points, we have to have 95% of our students participate in the assessment. And as you will see, we had an increase. We had more than 99% of our students participate in our assessments for English language arts, mathematics, science, and social studies. And we have just continued to ensure that all of our students have the same opportunities to assess on the test every single year. This slide shows our academic achievement status in our all students group. You'll note the number of points possible in the left column, and then in the right columns over the course of the past 3 years, how many points that we have earned as a group. I want to highlight here, and that's why there's a gold star, that mathematics, we earned 6 points there. Student achievements in mathematics improved, which meant that we went from 0 points for the last 2 years to 6 points. So that's a really big growth for us. And when we look in our academic achievement status for our student group in the area of English language arts, math, science, and social studies, that group in social studies, we made gains, and so we were able to earn 1.5 points this year, which is an increase from the previous year. Now, when we talk about growth, the MPI provides us with information on how many points students get in each category. Growth is always compared to the previous year. And over the course of this school year, the way that growth was determined is not just based on how the students do in one year to the next to themselves, but how the growth compares across the state. You might ask, why is there a static status? Because in English language arts, we did maintain our achievement, which is great, but the DESE has changed the way they awarded growth measures. Like I talked about at the beginning, there are some things about DESE that they did differently as they were capturing points for us this year than they have done in the past. Growth is one of those where we're not just compared to ourselves and how we've grown, but how we compare across the state. And this is an area. And so while there may be a decline in points at the English language arts level, it does not mean that our students' achievement level was less, as you saw in the previous 2 slides. And what that change did for us in mathematics, science, and social studies is it resulted in gains in points in all of those areas. When we look at our academic achievement and growth for the student group, you'll note that we made gains in every area: English language arts, mathematics, science, and social studies. So our growth and achievement scores are all moving in the right direction here. This academic achievement status for all students shows our MAP performance index, or our MPI score. So you will note that our MPI score for English language arts for all students was a 333.8, which was a slight increase from the previous year, and that maintained us in the approaching category, which is why we received 6 points in achievement in that area. As we look at mathematics, you'll notice we moved from 296.2 in 2023 to 300.8 in 2024, and that moved us from the floor, which was worth 0 points before, to approaching, which is worth the 6 points now. And so that's where those growth in points came from there. So that was a significant growth for us. As we look in science and social studies in our all groups, even though there were minor changes in scoring, they continued to remain in the same category that they were in previous year, in the approaching category. When you look for our student group, these in English language arts remained the same in the approaching category. And in the mathematics group, we also remained the same, moving from 280 to 284, continued to stay in approaching. In science, we also stayed in approaching, and in social studies, we moved from a 341 to a 347, which moved us from approaching to on track. So there was growth in that from one band to the next. Now, when we look at our success-ready students, our success-ready students are where we receive points for our college and career readiness assessments and our advanced credit assessments. I want to point out here that in these categories, the points that were earned in 2023 were rolled over to 2024. And so all school districts received the same number of points in 2023 in these categories that they received in 2024. We do anticipate a growth in that for us for next year. These are lagging indicators because we are having more students doing the CCR assessments and more students doing advanced credit. But the reason those are stagnant is because DESE just rolled over the same points. Graduation rate and follow-up, we received 10 points for our graduation rate. Each year, DESE awards you points based on the cohort with the highest graduation rate. And it's either your 4-year rate, your 5-year rate, or your 7-year rate. And so for us in 2024, our 7-year adjusted cohort rate was our highest graduation rate, which is how we achieved those 10 points. And the graduation follow-up is where you check in with your students 1 year after graduation. And St. Louis Public Schools does a really excellent job with that, and DESE continues to tell us to keep it up because we are doing a great job following up with our students after they leave us. So those were all components from the achievement section. There were 140 points for achievement and then 60 points for continuous improvement. These are the points awarded to us for continuous improvement. The LEA response to standards, we only are sometimes asked for that information. When we reported out on that last year, we were awarded full points in that category. Climate and culture survey, you receive points for utilizing a survey. We give a survey, and so the students we received full points for giving the survey. The KEA is the kindergarten entry assessment. In order to receive full points in that category, you have to have 95% student participation and upload that data. We did not have student data uploaded to meet the 95% threshold last year. For ICAP, that is an 8th grade. That is an 8th grade college and career where they're going towards. In ICAP, all school districts across the state in 22 and 23 received full points for ICAP because of COVID, even when they didn't upload enough ICAP actual reports from the students to demonstrate the need for those points. So earlier when I said there were changes due to how DESE captured things, they captured things a little bit differently in this area as well. So all students across the state received full points, whether or not they had completed all of their ICAPs. We received, and then in 2024, you received points based on the percentage of ICAPs that were completed. Again, this is at the 8th grade level only. Our rate actually increased from 2023 to 2024. In 2023, we had 34.3% of our students complete ICAPs, and in 2024, we made a gain up to 79.1%, and I'm happy to report that as of December 5th this year, we're at nearly 100% of all of our 8th graders reporting that. It doesn't show up here in the points, but that's where we're expecting for next year. I also want to go back and say for the kindergarten entry assessment, we are at the 95% benchmark to receive those points for next year as well. So every bit helps. Attendance, we're going to talk about that on a future slide, so I'm just going to leave that for now. CTE expansion, we are awarded all of our points for appropriately expanding our CTE programs. The points for audit are whether or not you submit your audit on time at the end of December. We did not submit our audit on time last year. The annual Secretary of the Board report and our timely submissions of core data are the other ways in which you receive continuous improvement points. Now let's talk about attendance, because we have not received any points in attendance for at least the last 3 years. Proportional attendance is a student's average daily attendance, and the students themselves are awarded points based on this scale on the screen here and weighted by how long they've been enrolled. So if you have not been enrolled for very long, your weighting is not the same as if you've been enrolled all school year. This accounts a bit for mobility. So below 85%, there are no points awarded. So if you do not have an average daily attendance rate of 85%, then that student is worth 0 points, all the way up to 1 point for students who reach the 90% average daily attendance rate. Then DESE awards us MSIP points to districts who are achieving at least an 80% proportional attendance rate. So this slide before is how kids are counted into the points, and then that is how this translates into our attendance rate. You receive 2 points for 80% to 84.9, 3 points for 85 to 89.9, and 4 points from 90 to 100%. Many school districts are still struggling to recover attendance post-COVID. We are still working on that as well. While our proportional attendance rate moved from 55.6 to 55.9 from 2023 to 2024, we did not meet the threshold of 80%, and that's why in this category we did not receive any additional continuous improvement points. As I shared earlier, our accreditation will not be changed based on the MSIP 6 for this year. The only way school districts can go right now is up, and we're already at the top, so we're right there. When accreditation consideration is made at DESE, these are some other categories in which they can provide accreditation considerations. They're not worth points, but they're also things worth pointing out that St. Louis Public Schools is always well established in these areas. Before we move on to the next section of our presentation, I wanted to see if there's any questions here.
I don't necessarily have a question. Before the question, could I ask that all the staff please stand? Seeing what has been done, I think you all need to be applauded for your work. Last year and this year was challenging, but to see the impact of what you've seen on the board, I think you all should be congratulated, and I'm sure we have staff members that are actually watching this. But I want to commend you for the work that you've done. That growth is a lot during this time, so I want to give you all an applause. If the parents are here and students that are here, can you all stand as well? I know we still have some seniors here. It's good to see stars in places where we normally don't see them, so thank you all. Board Member Hikes, you had a question.
No, I don't have a question. I just have a statement. It's like you. I just wanted to say thank you. And thank you to all our teachers. With all the things that are going on, I want them to know that we know that they're teaching. Despite anything, they're teaching. And I really appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Board Member Wise.
Thank you so much for presenting this information. You had mentioned that DESE changed some of their reporting structures, and that resulted in that 80% in the continuous improvement. I guess it's on page 9. I could probably go search this myself, but could you share with us like where we could go see or how we can see some of those reasons why those changes in reporting structures resulted in this 80% from a 92.3%?
So some of our decreases were related to their changes in reporting structures, but not all of them. A lot of it, I think, was as we look at like the way ICAP scores were given before, everyone just got the points, and now you had to earn the points. And so that's a change in a reporting structure, which resulted in a decrease in points for us. But I'll be happy to get for Dr. Borshade for you the manual from DESE that has all like the level of detail that you might be interested in for sure.
That would be great, thank you.
Yep.
And then the other thing I just wanted to highlight, this increase in points earned for math in 2024. Could you share some of what our math instructors are doing that may have contributed, or what's going on in our math classrooms that may have contributed to these points earned in that area?
So I don't have many details on that tonight, but I do know that our teachers and our math curriculum content specialists worked a lot last year to update our curriculum map for math, and so that all of the students would have access to the tested components prior to the test. Sometimes you have to move units around to make sure things come when they need to come. So we can get more information on that too.
Thank you.
The other thing to contribute to that was learning labs, where network superintendents did lots of learning labs, I want to say almost weekly, and provided immediate feedback and coaching right there at the time. In time, bite-sized feedback and coaching.
Board Member Hubbard.
Sorry, could you share the graduation rates?
Yeah, I don't have them off the top of my head, but I can get them to Dr. Borshade and we can share them with you.
More than 50%, right?
Yeah,
You
no,
got
the
50% of the
points are not
points.
the 5 does not equate to a 50%.
Okay.
That is correct, yeah.
Thanks.
Any other questions? You can continue, Dr. Dino.
All right, I'm going to invite Dr. Letitia Smith to come up and provide us with a brief update on our Saturday Success Academy.
Good evening to all the board members. I'm going to share with you some information on Saturday Success Academy in 3 short slides. I'm assuming they're going to, okay, thank you. Oh, they told me I need to do my own slides, sorry. Okay, so just to let you know, Saturday Success Academy is basically a structure that's put in place to make sure that we're providing critical tutoring, intervention, and support for those high school students who may need a little extra support to stay on track and make sure they're reaching that goal of graduation. Just a little bit of logistic information around Saturday Success Academy. It does occur every Saturday for the structures that we'll talk about when it talks about the dates for the session. Every Saturday from 9 to 12. We do have 3 sessions that will occur. We're completing session 1, which will conclude next Saturday, or the Saturday coming up on December 14th. It began on October 26th. We will have our next session that will begin in January. I'll talk a little more about that later. And then our 3rd session will conclude after spring break in March. For these sessions, breakfast and lunch are provided to all of our students, as well as transportation. Transportation was definitely set and ready to go. My first session with all the students, that orientation was virtual, so everybody who indicated that they needed transportation, by that Monday, October 29th, those letters were emailed that same day. Transportation was established, and those students were ready with transportation on our first physical Saturday, which was November 2nd, so kudos to our transportation. Also, bus tickets are provided to those students who needed those bus tickets, and they were available on site to any student who needs them on an ongoing basis. Also, technology, again, thanks for the partnership for our technology department. Although students are expected to come with their own devices, we don't want a barrier to be forgetting their device or anything that may have prohibited from having their technology working that day. So each site was provided 50 iPads and chargers, so that in the case that any student that would show up would not have their device on them for that day, a device would be provided to them, so there would be no interruption in the learning. So you may be wondering how the Saturday Success Academy model works. Our teachers follow what we consider to be the advisory model, And what that means is that all of our Success Academy teachers have a caseload of students. So that caseload of students could be coming to them with a variety of different topics and subjects they need to mitigate. And so those teachers that are assigned to that caseload will support that particular caseload of students throughout the duration of their time in the Success Academy. So what those staff members are responsible for is their attendance, so encouraging them to come, their direct homework support, or if they're in the personalized learning platform, completed those courseworks to get the credit that they need to receive at the end of the courses that they may not have passed in the past. Also, they collect a student entry and exit ticket. The purpose of that is to make sure that we have a clear understanding when those students show up each Saturday, what items they're bringing from the week before that they need to work on, and then at the end we assess to make sure that we accomplish what the student intended to work on for that Saturday, so we make sure that our sessions are run very productively and that we all reach our goals of what the student needs to work on for that particular session before it concludes. Also, another thing that we're really enjoying is that weekly communication with the building principals and those teachers of records, just having that ongoing communication back and forth to make sure that work has been turned in that hasn't worked on Saturdays, as well as that we are communicating with teachers about what may need to come, may not have been communicated before, maybe some changes, information that we can download from Teams or upload to Teams to make sure that there's continuous communication going on between Saturday Success Academy and the teachers of record in those buildings. So a little bit of the data around the Saturday Success Academy. We do have 3 sites. We wanted to try to have a kind of central location, a south side location, and a north side location. So we do have these feeder sites. So one is at Metro High School, we have McKinley High School, and then we also have Soldan. You may be wondering a little bit about how we structured what students attended each of those, and I have it here. So for our Soldan location, the schools that fed into those were Clyde C. Miller, Sumner, and Vashon. For our Southside location, which was McKinley High School, the schools that fed into that are Gateway and Roosevelt. And then for Metro High Schools, the schools that fed into that are Central VPA and Collegiate. As you can see here, it also tells you who those site leaders are that provides the oversight for those sites to make sure that the teachers have what they need, to make sure attendance is taken, to make sure compensation is done, to make sure that those teachers are having that weekly communication. All of those things you see are individual site leaders that's listed here. A little bit of information about the enrollment, so I'll give you time to kind of look over the data of those that was enrolled as well as those that have been attending. So you may have some questions, and I want to hopefully kind of answer a couple of questions that may be circling your head as you're looking at some of this data. The individuals that we courted for session 1 of Saturday Success Academy came from individuals when we looked at where their progress was as of Q1's progress report. So at that time, there wasn't a lot of students who was indicated at that time that may have needed credit recovery. However, there was some indication of some students at that time at that quarter reporting that may have had some D's and F's. So those were a lot of the students that we targeted to. Counselors reached out, information was sent through SIS to parents and families saying, we see that at this quarter reporting, your students may have a D and F in this subject. We have Saturday Success Academy that's coming up. It's starting on October 26th. We would love to have your students come. We can help them work on these grades, recover the credits, and approve those grades so that they can have that credit at the end of the semester. So sometimes what you'll see is we have a student that may attend a Saturday. They have mitigated a lot of the work, recovered a lot of the assignments. They have completed the work and the task that was communicated to us by their teacher of record. So within maybe 1 Saturday or 2 Saturdays, they have completed what was needed for them to pass that course. So there was, again, the incentive is once you've passed the classes, you brought your grades up from those D's and F's to your B's and A's, then you don't have to continue to come to Saturday school. So sometimes that was a little bit of the change in the enrolled versus attended, because they saw that as an incentive. Oh, if I can get my work completed and get these grades up, then I don't have to continue to come on my Saturday morning. So that was motivating for some of our students as well. So of the total 80 students that was in the academy that was first enrolled, most of them have been able to, at this point, from the data that's relevant as of right now, mitigate those grades. So by now, most of them, at least 46 of the students during this program, have moved their grade up by at least 1 letter grade. And we have even more of them that have moved their letter grade up by at least 2 letter grades just from the time that they started in this program. Also, they have been showing significant improvement in just their overall participation in their classwork, and that's some of the feedback that we've been getting back from their teachers. One of our scalable items that we have noticed is about what we can do to improve the overall success of Saturday Success Academy. We recognize that those who have that continuous attendance, they're seeing a lot more of the benefits of their attendance and their grades being changed and moving up to those passing grades a little quicker. So we know that expanding our efforts to make sure there's consistent attendance will lead to even greater outcomes for this program. Also, this data is not fully final. We will have a more comprehensive report for you after January 2nd, and that is because students get to continue to work in our personalized learning platform as well as to mitigate these grades through December 20th, with some even being extended to January 2nd on that personalized learning platform. So we will have a full comprehensive report of all the students at the end of the semester who may need, again, to have this target of counselors reaching out around who needs to recover some credits or may have some D's and F's they need to mitigate as we move into semester 2. So we'll be happy to provide the board with a full report of those grades and who will be targeting for session 2, which begins on January 25th for Saturday Success Academy. And so with that, I'll open it up for any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. Prior to opening it up to questions, I just want to say great job on this just-in-time support for our students. Our 2023 graduation rate was 69.65. Our 2024 graduation rate was 72.85. This is our 4-year graduation rate. And as we continue to do things like this, we will be able to increase our graduation rate. So thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Board Member Hubbard.
Thanks for that, Dr. Borshade. Number one, is this, we have site leaders, or the teachers, is this like extra stipend work?
Yes.
Okay.
It's extra service pay for the teachers.
Okay, extra service pay. And number two, could you tell me more about the personalized learning platform?
Yes, I can. I can tell you that Natasha Mitchell is going to come up here on this platform.
Hi, so Personalized Learning Platform is our MOCAP DESE approved virtual learning platform. So when students are working on credit recovery and actually sometimes even original credit, the Personalized Learning Platform is the platform that they're using to do that.
Any other questions?
Any other questions for Dr. Smith?
Thank you. I'll call up Miss Natasha Mitchell for summer school.
Good evening, Dr. Borshade, President Cousins, and members of the board. Thank you for this opportunity to share the vision for Summer School 24-25. My name is Natasha Mitchell, and I'm the Director of Virtual Learning and Gifted Education. This year, we are so proud to launch a summer program that exemplifies innovation, equity, and excellence. It is the Camp SLPS Choose Your Own Adventure. Our Choose Your Own Adventure approach offers students an opportunity to explore their interests in a way that integrates academics, creativity, and technology. These courses aren't just about enrichment. They're deeply rooted in literacy, with each adventure integrating companion text, writing projects, and hands-on technology activities. What makes this program even more dynamic is its accessibility. Similar summer camps offered by private organizations in our community often come with a high price tag. But we as a district have the resources and talent to provide these transformative experiences at no cost to our families. The program fosters agencies by allowing students to choose their own learning adventure while embedding critical skills like literacy, collaboration, and problem solving. Combining academics, social emotional learning, and exploratory opportunities, the program supports students' overall growth and prepares them for future success. Our summer school will run from June 2nd to June 27th, offering a wide range of programming from students from rising pre-K to 12th grade. Some key highlights of what students will experience on the Choose Your Own Adventure. Our youngest learners, our P4 students, are going to be doing Kindergarten Here I Come. Kindergarten through 8th grade students are going to work through what we're designing as a personalized learning pathway. It's going to leverage our adaptive data-driven platforms like Freckle and Myon to meet each student's individualized academic needs. And our instructional program will also include a strong social emotional learning component through Rethink Ed. But the true highlight of the program is the Choose Your Own Adventure camps. Students can explore themes like astro innovators for budding scientists, junior coders for future tech experts, creative outlets like how to be a spy, theater and movie making, and hands-on activities such as robotics, stop motion animation, and sports clinics such as basketball, soccer, and cheerleading. For high school students, the program offers targeted support. Rising ninth graders will participate in a one-week High School Here I Come Academy to support their transition from middle school to high school. 10th to 12th grade students will have the opportunity to earn credits through credit recovery and accelerated learning. And then this wide array of offerings ensures every student has the opportunity to learn, grow, and thrive this summer. So let's take a look at our planning timeline. Launching a program of this magnitude requires strategic planning and coordination, and along with collaboration across lots of departments. So I'm excited to report that we are well underway with our planning. The budget is being finalized, key stakeholders have been identified, and our marketing campaign is set to launch soon. We're going to collect student interest surveys to ensure that our offerings align with the summer experiences that our students are actually passionate about. Staffing and professional development are a priority, with applications launching in January and assignments finalized by March. Registration opens the week of March 10th to coincide with parent-teacher conferences, and then each adventure course will culminate in a capstone activity, allowing students to showcase their learning and growth. These events will vary by site, creating personalized celebrations of student achievement. As we approach the program launch, several key activities are planned to ensure a smooth start. Transportation notifications are going to be sent out by May 16th. Summer staff will participate in professional development sessions on May 28th and May 29th to prepare for the program's unique instructional components and overall vision. Classroom preparation is scheduled for May 30th, giving educators opportunities to create welcoming and well-equipped learning environments. Finally, the official launch is June 2nd for Choose Your Own Adventure, kicking off 4 weeks of exciting and innovative programming. On June 30th, we will have that as a record-keeping day, so all record-keeping report cards and student portfolios will be finalized and shared with our families. Finally, Camp SLPS Choose Your Own Adventure represents a significant step forward in how we approach summer learning. By leveraging our district's resources, we're offering a program that matches the innovation and quality of private summer camps while remaining equitable and accessible for all students. This program reflects our commitment to academic excellence, holistic development, and ensuring every student has the opportunity to succeed and thrive. Thank you for your continued support in making initiatives like this possible. Any questions?
Vice President Davis.
So we're back to 4 weeks this summer rather than 6?
Yes.
And was that a budgetary concern or was that a participation concern or both?
I can get that information to you. I was given the dates prior to kind of taking over the project.
Who gave you those dates? We'll ask that person.
Look,
I suspected they were in the room.
Yeah, so attendance was lower in our last 2 weeks, last year, as we saw in the summer school report this year. Budgetary, and we also need to make sure that all of our school sites can be ready to receive kids on the first day of school in August. And what we learned from moving into mid-July is that made some of those things much more difficult to achieve. And so we know kids wanted to come those first 4 weeks. We're going to capture them then, and then we're going to be able to do the business that we need in July to make sure that our schools are ready to accept all kids at the first day of school.
Great, thanks. Makes sense.
Any other questions for Ms. Mitchell? Thank you, ma'am. Next up.
Next, we'll have Dr. Henning come and share about the aviation program.
This is going to be really timely, given the fact that we had an opportunity to tour here at Gateway STEM. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, so Gateway is, one of the things it's known for is you go walk down some steps and you're going to see planes. You're going to see helicopters. And it's really exciting when you walk in there. But part of what we know from the data is the program that we've been offering for the last few years is an aircraft mechanics course. A lot of those planes that are down there aren't even planes that are flying around anymore. Okay, so while they look good, the reality is we haven't had a student graduate with an FAA certification since 2018 from Gateway. So part of what being a CTE program means is every 2 years we complete a CCQI. Every single program does this. So this is the common criteria and quality indicators. So this is how we changed a TV and radio program into multimedia, right? So as technology changes, we've got to change with the times as well and make our programs as best as we can for kids. So what we are doing is we are transitioning to an aviation management pathway. It's still an aviation program, but now students will learn how to program drones, fly drones, develop unmanned aircraft, get into actual flight simulators. Right now, we don't even have a flight simulator here, so actually, we're going to ask you guys to approve the purchase of one tonight. So, so just really exciting. So what's the difference? Yeah, you're going to walk down there, and some of you all joined us on the tour, and you saw there were some cool planes, but you also saw there was a lot of debris and mess down there. So all of that is going to start to get cleared out, and instead of seeing planes just stationary, you're going to see kids in flight simulators, you're going to see drones, you're going to see our kids at football games operating drones, taking video, and all that kind of cool stuff. So just a really exciting opportunity for us. And so that's just kind of an update on the direction we're going in this one specific program. But I think it's kind of hearkening to where we're going with CTE and as a district as well, just kind of into the future. So any questions?
Secretary Jones.
I was so excited downstairs. Oh my goodness. I remember when my children were students here back in the day, and you had a lot of great programs, but it's so much better now even. And I appreciate the fact that you had the firefighter program, and you had the equipment downstairs, you had the ambulance, you had all of those things, and I think this improving the program of the aviation program is a must, and I'm so happy to hear about the drones and the flight simulators and the children being able to earn this. One young lady even talked about getting her pilot's license.
Yeah.
So that's exciting to me, and I just thank you so much for helping to improve the program, and that SLPS is going in that direction, making sure that if the students are not going to college, that they're going to get trained. They receive their certification in other areas. So I'm just 100% behind you, and I know this entire board is, and I appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Board Member Wise.
Thank you so much, and I'm sorry I missed the tour. Just one question, who will instruct the program? Educators who are already here with us, or do we hire other folks or programs that will assist with the instruction?
Excellent question. The same educator. So he's actually certified to do drones as well. And so we actually started that program because it's a 2-year program. So he has started the work with those, and we already have the program over 30 kids. So yeah, good question.
Any other questions? Thank you, Dr. Henry. Dr. Dino?
Alrighty, we are ready for Dr. Sherman and Ms. Berry and Ms. Lucas to come up and talk with us about the HBCU college tour.
This is the best part. Good evening. I have 2 students, Alexis Berry.
Hello.
She's from Vashon High School. And I have Dominique Lucas from Metro High School.
Hi.
Okay, so here we had 46 students to tour. And they went to Fisk University, Tennessee State. Those are in Nashville. And then they went on to Atlanta, to Clark Atlanta, Morehouse, and Spelman. So I'm going to have them to talk to you right now about their experiences at these schools.
Hello, Superintendent Borshay. My name is Alexis Berry, and I wanted to attend the tour so I could see firsthand the college has to offer and if I see myself living there and in the state. Visiting these colleges allowed me to experience what it's like to be on campus. I could picture myself as a student going to those schools. The tour helped me narrow down on where I would like to go and how the student life is on campus. I like how the tour guides talked about their experience going to the school and how it's going so far. I love I love Clark Atlanta the most, I would say, and how vibrant it was in Atlanta, and just like it's always been on my bucket list to go to Atlanta, so the HBCU tour let me get that experience. And I just like how the students were just maneuvering around campus, just kind of like, it felt like home in a way. And Spelman was an eye-opener for me. Going to an all-girls school would be an honor to be surrounded by Black women of excellence. And with the HBCU tour, it helped me narrow down on places to experience things. Like, it let me see the imperfections that they might have, but it also let me see the opportunities I could also have at the school. Thank you.
Thank you. And just know that you are a representation of Black excellence.
Hi, everybody. My name is Dominique Lucas, and like I said before, I go to Metro. I wanted to attend the HBCU tour because I thought it was a great opportunity. Ever since I was a young girl, I've always imagined myself going to a historically Black institution. Going on this tour has impacted my life in a positive way. It allowed me to better understand my future. In the application process, I've also applied to 6 HBCUs, and we toured two of the ones I want to go to, and it's Clark Atlanta and Spelman. But I already got accepted to Clark Atlanta. And touring and going on the tour and looking at Clark Atlanta, it kind of was an eye-opener for me. And seeing students like interact, it made me think this can be me in the next school year. So I really enjoyed the tour, and I made some acquaintances, and it was pretty cool. Yeah.
Congratulations. Great job. Great job.
All right, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Borshade, for allowing me to put this together. This is a discussion we had and it materialized, and I'd like to thank the board for financing this for our students and giving them the opportunity. Our parents were so very grateful to you for giving students this experience, and I really am excited about what the future holds for our students. It also was an opportunity for students to get to intermingle with students from across the district. And so I'm really appreciative to the board and to Dr. Borshade for allowing our students to have this opportunity.
And our next tour?
Our next tour will be in the spring, March 9th through the 13th. Students will be traveling to Howard University, Hampton, and North Carolina A&T. And while they're in the DMV area, they will have opportunities to take advantage of all the sites that are there, the historical sites, so allow them to connect the dots with what they are studying in school and actually seeing sites on hand. So they, like what you see here, they got to go to the campuses, and these are our students. And then, another picture was they got to go to the King Center. And so they take advantage of those sites. So the tour guides make sure that they get to experience things that are local to where they're going to visit. And so, did you want me to talk about graduation?
Yes, graduation.
Okay. All right. So for graduation, we do have those dates. And these are the dates and times of the ceremonies for all of our schools. So these are the official dates and times. And here you will see that we have Harris Stowe and Nottingham, the Sheldon, and Chase Park Plaza. Are there any questions? Okay, thank you.
At this time, you will hear from operations. You'll hear about the work that is happening regarding the RFP. There were approximately 100, or I should say over 40 pages of questions that were asked by Friday, December 6th. Some were duplicates, but they're questions nonetheless. All the questions have been answered and the responses have been shared. Correct, Mr. Watson?
That is correct.
All righty, thank you.
Good evening to Dr. Borshade. Said it right. Caught that, didn't you? to the board, to the listening audience. I just want to provide an update for the transportation department. And again, transportation, operations, touch on those 4 goal areas, touching the reading, math, college and career readiness, culture, and climate. And transportation in general represents the through line, where it impacts all of our strategic values within the district. So tonight, we want to give an update for the transportation RFP and where we stand in terms of the RFP. The request for proposal was released on November 15th. Questions from all of the vendors, those that were looking to submit in proposals were due on last Friday, December the 6th, and the answers as of today were submitted into the Bonfire platform. So Bonfire is the platform where the RFP it can be located, as well as where the vendors will find their answers to the questions that were asked. And as it was stated, there were over 100 questions in which all of the questions were answered and submitted in. The proposal's due date will be next Monday, December the 16th at 5 p.m. And we will have the bid opening on December 17th at 9 a.m. And we're looking to bring our recommendations to the board by the February 11th board meeting. And I do want to go back in terms of with the recommendations, similar to what we've done, and these were some of the recommendations that came from the Council of Greater City Schools. We've created a task force, a transportation task force, and it consists of principals, a lot of our other stakeholders representing the special education department, students in transition, English language learners, early childhood, athletics, CTE, just to name a few. But the idea and the goal is to get all of our stakeholders at the table, provide visibility over the process, to better understand and also find the blind spots from the transportation department that we may get a chance to hear the different perspectives, so that we can, in essence, even with the RFP, develop a thorough RFP, but also evaluate it so that we'll bring those recommendations again to the board by February. So what are our next steps? We're looking at some routing software. This is in conjunction with, we're going to a new student information system. We're looking to release that on this Friday, December the 13th. However, we are working with the procurement department, the procurement manager, Mr. Tague, Ms. Terry, on those release dates. So that'll be more to come, and that information will be provided on our website as well as through the Bonfire platform. We also have a transportation vendor meeting scheduled for December the 23rd. That's our opportunity to get feedback from our vendors. We've been in this space now dealing with multiple vendors, over approximately 19 vendors, but this is our opportunity to kind of get some checkpoints as we have in October, and again we'll have this checkpoint in December to kind of gauge how things are going. We have received a lot of feedback, both good and bad, in regards to our alternative modes of transportation. For our buses, we heard from our families, school leaders, just to name a few. But again, this gives us the opportunity to get information feedback so that we can finish out the remainder of the year and make our adjustments along the way. The other big initiative is coming next year is the back to school registration. We're looking to codify this particular date and time. In other words, create a standard so every year after the observance of MLK, Martin Luther King, we will begin our back to school registration. This will allow for the window to open for for families and students to opt into transportation, as opposed to what we've done in the past, which is more or less route all students, even projected students. Using this opt-in option will help routing become more efficient and effective. The goal is once that window opens for 6 weeks, so the first or the second week in March, that window will close, and they will receive first priority. In other words, we know that those students, before they leave school in May, they will receive and know that they have a bus and transportation. So these are some of the initiatives that we're doing as we're planning for next year, for the success for transportation. As we know, this year has been just a mix with a lot of different vendors, buses, and as we always say, anything with four wheels and a steering wheel. But with our planning that we're putting in place now, which is going to include the routing, it's going to include the vendors, codifying some of the dates so that when we have back to school registration, these are the systems that we're putting in place so that we'll be more effective in ensuring that transportation is reliable for next year. And with
Thank
that,
you,
we
Mr.
open up
Watson.
any questions.
Vice President Davis.
How are we on transportation department staffing? I know some of the recommendations from the Council of Great City Schools systems review and also other discussions we had about sort of the workload, particularly at the beginning of the year in terms of not only routing but also customer service. So have we added headcount to that department, and are we doing good on filling those positions?
So that is another area that we'll bring some more recommendations to the board for some additional positions to really build the infrastructure for the transportation department. We're including routing, additional routers, a compliance position. That way there'll be someone on our end to check vehicles, particularly when it comes to some of the issues that we faced this year. Additional positions such as a operations budget person. That person will have the capacity to monitor the invoices, in addition to making sure that when it comes to performance, there are certain language in the contracts that we could seek within the liquidated damages portion. So the goal is to increase the staffing to build the infrastructure for. And again, this is in our plans for next year, but I know those recommendations will be coming to the board soon.
The other thing is we just hired a director of transportation, so that's going to be in addition to the team, as well as making sure that the transportation routers are trained well before August. So that plan is to happen sometime in March and April. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
Board Member Wise.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. You mentioned the transportation task force. Are there opportunities for community members or parents to be on that task force, or is that an internal, staff-only task force?
So I would say that in regards to that particular task force, we had to make sure that it was internal so that we did not compromise the integrity of what was in the RFP by not giving anyone an advantage. So we released it on November 15th so that now everyone in the community has access to it on the same day. Now going forward, we definitely will need to invite our parents and community stakeholders into that, because again, we have blind spots and we want to make sure that they can give us some insight on some of the things that they have experienced.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Board Member Hubbard.
Dr. Borshay just mentioned it, but I wanted to know what the qualifications are to be a router. Do you go to routing school? How does that work?
Essentially, yes, you go to
Yeah,
routing
it is,
school.
definitely.
Yes.
The qualifications, they are listed in the job description. It does require those that have been in the industry to be at least aware of some of the software, because you're actually using a lot of the applications. I don't have it off the top of my head, but we could provide that information to you all in terms of that job description.
Any other questions for Chief Watson? Thank you, sir.
And just as Mr. Watson talked about all of the departments working together, our comms department is going to come and share what they are doing to make sure that this information is shared broadly and widely as it relates to registration.
Good evening, Dr. Borshay, board, listening audience, viewing audience. Thank you for having me here. My name is Carl B. Mitchell. I work in the Office of Public Affairs, and you've seen our strategic values. Communications obviously impacts all of these, but today I want to focus on the authentic family and community partnership, as well as joyful and engaged students who have to be here to be engaged. You've seen our student success goals, and of course, communications flows through this as well. I do want to pause for a moment for Portrait of Graduate, just to say the fact that it feels a little surreal to be here addressing you all for the first time at Gateway STEM. I knew it as Gateway Institute of Technology when I went here, graduated here in 2003. Shout out to Gateway in the building. I love my time here, and when I was here, I joined the communications and multimedia pathway, and here I am all these years later, still doing the work. So it's just a special moment for me. So just allow me that. Thank you. So I know I'm the last presentation. I won't be in front of you long, especially since Chief Watson stole some of my thunder by presenting some of the information I want to present today. I'll talk about open registration, what it used to look like, what it's going to look like. I'll go over the marketing and communications roadmap just so you can see what we think about as we strategize how to communicate with our families. We'll talk about some of our channels, internal and external, and then I'll give you a timeline as to how we will want to achieve these goals. So the previous process included doing a rollover in our student information system. So if you are a third grader at Gateway Elementary School, we would roll you over to a fourth grader in Gateway Elementary School, and then we would include bus routes for every student that we expected to return, unless parents let us know that they weren't returning or let us know that they didn't need a bus. As you all know, a lot of times that didn't happen. So what we're doing now is asking parents to opt in for transportation. We're going to open our registration process the day after MLK Day, which is going to be Tuesday, January 21st. That'll be for the 25-26 academic year. In addition to asking parents to opt in for transportation, we're also going to give them an opportunity to sign up for before and or aftercare registration. So again, you heard that from Chief Watson. I probably said it a little better. So I'm just joking, Chief. So I'll talk a bit about the little levity for the long evening. So I'll talk about the marketing roadmap. Again, this is what drives our strategy. So first is awareness, right? You have to know that we are here. You have to know that we have 3 blue ribbon schools. You have to know that we have the best high school in the state of Missouri, which is Gateway. But then also you have Metro, which was awarded by U.S. News and World Report. So then is consideration, right? Once you know about what we have to offer, we have an excellent pre-K program and everything that we have to offer here at St. Louis Public Schools. Next, what you're doing is you're making your consideration. You're calling the school, you are visiting the website. And so this is not just a communications piece, this is a district-wide piece, because once you're aware, if you call a school and you get someone who is maybe rude or not welcoming, if you visit a school and you don't feel welcome, that'll impact you and that may stop you from going along this journey. Next is conversion. This is where a lot of people think it stops. The parent has enrolled their child, they are converted to a SLPS family, and that's it. But it's not. We want to always go to 4 and 5. That's where we want to live. Number 4 is loyalty. You know, when my daughter Harper, when she was 3 years old, I was looking for somewhere to take her, and I heard from someone that Miss Connie Black Clark at Maine Elementary was just an excellent pre-K teacher. I see some nods. Some of you all may know her. And so I took my kid there, and she just loved her experience. She would be in the car singing some of the songs she sang in pre-K. She was telling me about the life cycle of a frog, and just really enjoyed her time there. So much so that when my son Parker was born and he was ready to go to pre-K, it wasn't even a question. where he was going. He was going to Miss Connie Black Clark. That's loyalty. That was me enjoying my experience and wanting to come back. I really thought about having another kid just so I can go back to Miss Connie Black Clark, but I thought better of it. And then, yeah, watch yourself. And then number 5 is advocacy. So not only do I love my experience, this is where I'm telling people about it. Just as someone told me about Mrs. Clark, I told other people. There is no billboard, no social media post, there's no newspaper ad that can compare to a parent telling you about their experience and encouraging you to experience it for yourself. So this is where we're thinking, this is our North Star when we are strategizing about communication, and I thought it was important to share that with you. So if I talk about our district-owned channels first, these are our internal channels. These are things that we can do right now without having to pay any extra money. For mass communications, we have robocalls, which parents tell me they love. We have text messages, emails, and we have PGR, which is for our flyers. We also have, obviously, our district website. I'll be back in a month or two to talk to you about that. Our superintendent's newsletter, which is beginning rave reviews about the content that it is sharing with parents. We have our school level communication, so our principals, they use Class Dojo and other tools to communicate with their families, and sometimes we will push information for them to share as well. And we still go old school with physical flyers and posters a lot of times. We also still have social media. The bulk of our families are still on Facebook, and they're on this Instagram as well. We use YouTube. In fact, there are families watching right now as we're streaming live. We also use TikTok. We're kind of waiting a little bit to see what happens with TikTok, to see if it's going to go away or not. And we have X as well. Externally, we still do, if I talk about traditional, that's network TV, so the local channels, some who are here today, as well as cable TV, radio, and print advertising. Some of these, when it comes to these channels, there are pros and cons for using some of these. On the traditional side, people still watch TV and cable, and so we still use it, but sometimes you can get a lot of waste, which just means that if you put an ad on one of the local network channels, people who are not just in the city of St. Louis can see it. People who live in Illinois and surrounding areas who aren't eligible to go to our schools will see that ad. So we try to mix traditional with digital, which digital allows us to specifically target parents, whether they are a pre-K parent. As you know, we all use our phones and technology, and they know who you are and how many kids you have based on your search history, right? So we use web banners, we use external email blasts, we do digital out of home and over the top. Digital out of home, if you've ever been to a gas station, and as soon as you start pumping your gas, you may see a commercial start rolling. Yes, we will do those as well. And then over the top is for people, if you're like me and you don't watch as much network TV, and you watch, apps like Hulu, well, we advertise on there as well. And again, we're able to drill down and tell them who we want to reach, and that works wonders. Outdoor, we use billboards. I'm sure you've all seen, and I'll show you some examples in a moment here. Street posters, which are essentially the smaller size billboards that you might see on the street. And transit, you'll see sometimes we'll have bus ads and bus shelter ads. And again, I told you we'll give you some examples. So this is one of the campaigns we had a lot of fun with, Discover the Power of Pre-K. And so you may have saw the campaign on billboards, on web banners is what you see on the bottom and the top right. And then you also see the transit sign in the middle right. Just some other examples of some digital ads for some campaigns we ran. This was for Magnet. This student right here on the You Can Go Anywhere From Here is working on the plane at Gateway. Downstairs is where that photo was taken. So these are all, anytime you see these photos, they're always our students, and they're always doing real activities. That these are all things that you can do at St. Louis Public Schools. And here's just another example of some of the things that we, excuse me, some of the external channels that we use. So if I discuss the timeline here, and I'm almost done here. So you heard from, again, Chief Watson, that back in November, the transportation RFP was released. Also, you should know that the magnet lottery has run, so parents have already been notified of placement, those parents who had already applied. In December, this month is when we will begin communicating the open registration season. So we're going to start that message internally, and then we're going to expand externally. Again, I told you about that date, January 21st. You're going to hear that a lot over the next few weeks. That is when the registration opens. In February, the transportation vendor is selected, again, something you heard earlier. And then you also heard Chief Watson mention that priority registration is going to close on the 8th. So students will still be able to register after that date. But as you heard, we're going to give priority to individuals who register before that deadline. So we're going to always encourage our families to register, again, before the deadline. But if parents register afterwards, we're going to still try to get everyone transportation, obviously. That's really all I have for you today, unless you have any questions.
I do have a question. When we're saying register, a lot of times parents think, oh, I don't need to register, like I'm already in the system. Are we sending something to encourage them, like just maybe if you have some change of information or whatever, like you still need to register?
Yes, that's correct. So everyone, every SLPS family will need to register. So as an example I shared, if you're a Gateway Elementary third grader and you're going to Gateway Elementary for fourth grade, you will need to register for fourth grade, as opposed to us just assuming that you're coming. So we will make sure that message is clear to all of our parents. We're going to do that top down. So we'll be sharing that from the district side, but we're also working with principals to give them communications, and they can share that message throughout their community in the way that they communicate with their families. Some principals are big on robocalls. Some have newsletters. Some use Class Dojo. So we're going to support them in getting that message out to every single family.
So do we send notice home, say I'm in the first grade, my child is in the first grade, and my child is going to the second grade. Do you send notice home to say, will your child be returning back to Gateway?
So we're not going to ask them, we're going to ask them to register. So they will literally need to
still register.
They're going to still need to register. That would be our new process. So this will be something new. And so that's why we wanted to share with you all the ways in which we will communicate this, because again, it's something new, but you've seen the transportation issues that we've had. You've seen the bus stops going to stops where there's no students to pick up. So in our effort to just improve transportation, this is our path forward.
So across the board, even if you were there in kindergarten, we're going to ask you to register again for first grade.
That's correct. That's correct.
Vice President Davis.
So will the registration then be in the SIS system, or will it be one of those forms that you have to fill out?
It will be an e-form that you need to fill out in the SIS system until we roll over into Focus.
So you'll have to log into the new SIS system in order to register for the next year.
You'll need to log into, on January 21st, you'll need to log into the current system.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. And do we know what percentage of our parents use that system regularly or have access to their logins?
We have been discussing that, and we are going to work really hard with all of our principals, with all of our secretaries, as well as our family support specialists to make sure that all of that is done.
Okay. And I think the biggest thing is the 5 a.m. snow day calls. If your kid's school starts at 9, can be a little harsh. 7, I think, is better, but if it's at 9, people don't like that.
Understood.
Also, even if you are going to the online registration, are you still keeping some paper registration? Is it the only way to do registration is online? I guess that's
The goal is online registration.
Is that the only way? Is what I'm asking. Is there what if I have little to no access to do online?
So then we would encourage you to come into the school so that we can assist you with the online registration.
Okay. Board Member Hubbard.
Do you have a specific plan, or will you be creating a specific plan to reach out to our families with who don't speak English at home and for whom there's a lot more barriers to receiving communication?
Absolutely. Very good. Oh, I apologize. We had the same answer. Absolutely. I'll say that we've established a back to school brigade of different departments and leaders within the district, principals as well, to help us get these messages out. And we would not have done that without the ESOL department's involvement. Those conversations are underway.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
On to the consent agenda. Is there any questions for the consent agenda?
I don't have any questions, but can we pull 12, 10, 24, 19?
Is there any other items from the consent agenda to be pulled?
I'll make a motion to approve items 12, 10, 24, 01 through 12, 10, 24, 18.
Second.
Any discussions? Ms. Henry?
Mr. Heights?
Yes.
Ms. Weiss?
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard?
Yes.
Ms. Fowl?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Cousins?
Yes.
Motion passed.
I'll make a motion to approve item 12, 10, 24, 19.
Second. Any discussions? Ms. Henry?
Mr. Heights?
Yes.
Ms. Weiss?
Abstain, it's my place of employment.
Ms. Hubbard?
Yes.
Ms. Fowl?
Yes.
Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Cousins?
Yes.
Motion passed.
I'll make a motion to approve items 12, 10, 24, 20 through 12, 10, 24, 25.
Second.
Any discussions? I want to discuss 12, 10, 24, 20. That's JCT Academy Amendment Request to approve amending 05-14-2405 for $500,000, the contract for Adolescent Adjustment Center doing business as JDC Academy to reflect an increase in the daily cost of service. Total amount $1.2 million for contractual service during the period of July 2024 to June 2025.
Correct.
Miss Boyd, what you got for me?
So, good evening,
Good evening.
board members, interim superintendent Borshade, Ms. Cousins. So we approved placement to JTC Academy in May of '24. However, in July, they issued a rate change for the state of Illinois, which meant I need to come back and ask for additional dollars to deal with the increase with the changes.
Can you elaborate, just tell us a little bit more of what that is? Because I want to make sure people know the feedback. What type of services that is, because I don't think is much that's offered in that capacity. Does anywhere else offer something of that magnitude?
So we do have schools in our region that will support our students, but they have a vetting process of the students they will accept. JTC Academy accepts our really intense students, students with an educational diagnosis of autism or a diagnosis of emotional disturbance. And because of those intensive behaviors and needs, they've changed their bill rate. So we have some students that require a paraeducator full-time, so there's an increase in that dollar amount. And if the student just requires just those traditional services, there was just an increase in that. We met with staff, we tried to negotiate to lower that rate, but unfortunately, Illinois set the rates and then they had to operate in that space.
Thank you, Ms.
Yes,
Boyd.
ma'am.
Ms. Henry.
Mr. Heights?
Yes.
Ms. Weiss?
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard?
Yes.
Ms. Fowl? Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Cousins?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Board reports.
I have a couple. On November 14th, the Legislative Committee held our legislative breakfast where we invited members of, local members of the state legislature, as well as the Board of Aldermen, as well as this year we invited members of the community to participate. And so we had a discussion about our legislative priorities. We answered questions from the alder persons and legislators, and were able to talk to them. And we had delicious breakfast prepared by the culinary CTE students at Clyde C. Miller. It looked tremendous. I didn't eat any. And the salmon croquettes, which I think Dr. Borshade got the recipe, got rave reviews. So I was blown away by those kids, and they got up really early to come do it. So thanks, Dr. Borshade, for pushing forward to have those students cater our legislative breakfast. In terms of the legislative update, we received updates from our lobbyists. Of course, it's that time of year. Pre-filing for next year's legislative session started December 1st, and so we're starting to track those bills. We'll have a legislative meeting probably early in January to see what bills in particular we believe are going to receive attention, that we'll need to pay attention to. From our perspective, there is a bill that has been pre-filed, Senate Bill 485. I probably got to check that number, but it is in regards to the public school retirement system of the city of St. Louis. It was sponsored and filed by Senator Roberts. At our request, we have been talking with the retirement board since last year, when there was a bill that they put forward to change our contribution level, which we did not support. We are continuing to have those discussions with them. The bill that we have filed is to cap the employer contributions at 14%, which would be a rollback to 2018 or 2019, I believe, contribution rates. And not to go into the history of the legislative changes from 2017, but it has put the retirement system into a difficult situation where it's now on the financial watch list for the state of Missouri. Anytime that a pension, a public pension, falls below 70%, it goes on that watch list. And so due to a lot of factors, but including those legislative changes from 2017, which were put forward by the Special Administrative Board, it's put the pension into a difficult situation. So we've been trying to work for a fix where we can increase employer contributions, maintain employee contributions, so those contributions are not increased. And so we think we've hit that balance, and it's going to additional costs for the district, again, going back to the 2018 or 19 level. Also, that would be additional costs for charter schools as well, who will have to go back to that level as well. So I just want to give a brief update on those legislative committee actions. And so we're going to continue to work with the retirement system, with AFT 420, and see if these changes are going to be acceptable to everyone. My final update I want to give, and this is sort of crossing a couple different committees that I serve on, the Governance Committee as well as the Audit Committee, but as the board knows and the public may know by now, earlier today the Board of Education did release the management assessment, which was authorized back in July to to hire an audit firm through our legal counsel to examine certain transactions over the last year regarding former superintendent Dr. Keisha Scarlett. Those audit results have been released on our website at slops.org/audit. There are three components to that. There's the full and complete report, which is very detailed and very exhaustive. It's taken several months, and the audit firm of 4 individuals has really been very exhaustive in their examination of the district and those practices. As painful as it may be for all of us, it was an important thing to do, not only for the public, but also very important in addition to an executive summary, which is shorter, which sort of gives you the highlights or the lowlights of that report. Most importantly, I think for our purposes and the purposes for my committee report and the purposes of the board and for the public that are watching, as well as all of the staff members and the administration, there are 11 recommendations that were generated out of that report. We have begun to give a corrective action response to those 11 actions. I am pleased to say that many of those actions we had already undertaken changes in the district in terms of adopting policies regarding finance and human resources, which, as we know and we've discussed several times at these board meetings, are woefully outdated, some dating back to the 90s. It's been a big undertaking, but we are trudging along, especially with the finance policies, which we hope to have adopted in our January board meeting. We need to adopt those in our January board meeting. Other implementations which we've done, we have hired an internal auditor as of this evening. So that is something we're very excited about. We are going to be looking and changing, along with the audit committee, the reporting structure of that internal auditor. So whereas previously the practice was that the internal auditor reported pretty much solely to the superintendent, it is now going to be reporting to an independent audit committee. We have a 4-person independent audit committee. I'm a member of it, but then 3 community members who have expertise in finance and accounting are currently on our audit committee, and part of this comes with recommendations that they made last year. So we're going to have a more independent mechanism for the internal auditor to provide some oversight and follow some of the recommendations in that report. So I'm not going to go into all 11 because some of those things still need a sort of a plan of action, but one thing that we are going to commit is we're going to continue to use that page on our website, slops.org/audit, to continually update the corrective actions we are taking regarding that report, and we're also going to have a standing agenda item, probably mostly focused at the work session, but also at these board meetings, particularly when things need to be approved, to continually update what changes we are making under that audit. Not only that audit, but also we can anticipate that when the state audit comes out, there will also be corrective actions which will need responses as well. So it's going to take an incredible amount of work, but I do hope and believe that there is light at the end of the tunnel, and as painful as this process has been, hopefully this gives us some degree of closure on that chapter, knowing that the next chapter is going to require a lot of changes in the way that this board operates, in the way that district administration operates, and the way that we interact also with the public. And so I certainly, from my own perspective, and I think I share this perspective with the whole board, we welcome that scrutiny, we welcome that challenge, and we hope that we will meet that challenge and not disappoint the community that elected us.
Any other board reports?
Yeah.
Board member Wise?
I just want to share that on November 26th, I was sworn in as an appointed member of the public school retirement system of the city of St. Louis. So looking forward to working with them. Thank you.
Any other board reports? So I will be reporting on the fact that we did have literacy for the Lou. This was the second event that we had, and we were able to have our first spelling bee contested winners. We had over, how many winners? We had over 20 students that were winners of the spelling bee contest. It was very important to see how the students, the families, and other students were supporting one another at this event. They were actually coming down the halls like the champ is here, the champ is here. And the parents and students were applauding. So that was really great to see how elated the parents and the teachers were to see the winners. I actually had the opportunity to talk to one of the principals who said she really didn't want to participate in the spelling bee contest. She was like, we really didn't have time for it. But once she went through the process, she was excited. She said, I'm glad we actually took part in this. And now they're working on the STEM fair. So I think that's really good to bring things like that back into the school system. I also was part of the real estate committee. We did have the real estate committee meeting yesterday. And those meetings are public, but what we'll start doing, we go into open and closed sessions with those meetings, but those meetings are public, so I do want to report on that. We did have someone come present to us. Her name was Sheila Rabbit from SLDC. They're asking to put a tower on top of one of our schools, on top of Jefferson School, a Wi-Fi tower to offer free Wi-Fi for the area over in the that particular community, a smart wave contract they're wanting to do, but we're still having questions in regards to what damage that will actually do to the roof of the school, especially that's one of the buildings that we actually put some roof repairs on. So we still have questions in regards to the maintenance of it, the impact, if it will penetrate, what damage it will have, would it cover, or who will cover the insurance in regards to that. So the committee is not yet ready to approve that without the questions that we still have outstanding to be answered. It has to be approved before the real estate committee before it can come before the entire board. So we're still awaiting answers regarding that. We had a presenter from the Starwood Group, Mr. Charles Kashner, and they're looking to rent 30 parking spaces from us in regards to our garage. They're wanting to have 3 parking spaces from the garage where they will be designating for the businesses that they have from either Squire or the Post-Dispatch. And we're still in limbo to what that looked like and what the spacing would look like and what the cost would be. We also had a meeting regarding the Baton School. They they originally presented 90% tax abatement. We had concerns with offering 90% tax abatement for that particular property. That property, they have about 20 one-bedroom apartments. I want to say 20 or 25, probably. It was majority one-bedroom apartments with the income being 60% medium, meaning basically you had to be one person living in the apartment building making $23,000 a year. And then they had 5 apartment buildings available, 3 at market rate. So our concern with that was that really was no return on investment really for the community. What would that look like? So we are to the point where we're negotiating that to say 75% on the tax abatement. For them, this is the first time that the district has actually positioned itself where we're actually negotiating what tax abatement will actually look like, or being able to negotiate tax abatement. So we've put that out there. We're waiting on what that deal would look like, if that will potentially happen. We're talking with SLDC, and potentially they have a MOU between St. Louis Public School and their MOU with them being housed in Sumner. So we're trying to see if that extension will happen. It will continue their space in Sumner, because good news, Sumner is actually growing in enrollment. Before, Sumner enrollment was low, but Sumner enrollment has actually grown much more than what it was 2 to 3 years ago. So potentially we may have to end the relationship that we have with SLDC, because we may have to expand our space and utilization with our students in Sumner School. But we'll stay tuned to what that looks like. Before, the board had committed and charged the real estate committee to find a real estate attorney in regards to KIPP School and the lease agreement, and we were able to do that. We have identified our real estate attorney to work through the concerns that we have in regards to, do we lease or do we sell the property that we have? KIP is actually in 2 of our buildings, which is the old Mitchell School and Pruitt School. So we're working through that. Stay tuned. We will be discussing what it will look like. Either do we sell or do we lease? More discussions will come regarding that. We're also putting together a plan of action in regards to our vacant buildings and coming up with how we are going to be diversifying and utilizing the funds that we don't really have and how we can better address our vacant buildings. We have had conversations. We were able to work out a co-development project with St. Louis Development Corporation into Marshall, in regards to Marshall School, where we will be working in conjunction with them, and they're working with us to help stabilize Marshall School. And we're looking to do a similar project of that magnitude with the old Cleveland ROTC School, but we're still in the midst of negotiation to see what that looks like. And that's the report I have in regards to real estate. Did I cover that, Mr. Hikes and Secretary Jones? I know you guys are also on the real estate committee. Is there any other board members report? Board Member Hubbard.
Yes, I also was at Literacy for the Lou, and I had so much fun. I forgot I was a board member. I had brought 2 of my children, and we just had a really good time, and I appreciate all the thoughtfulness that went into planning it. The History Museum was a great venue. We brought a whole lot of books home that hopefully they will read. And so I just wanted to add my share of congratulations for a great event. I would like to suggest maybe for next year that one of our food trucks or whatever we use is an allergy-friendly establishment. But other than that, it was lovely. Thank you so much.
Mr. Ronnell?
Good evening to President Cousins, Vice President Davis, our lovely hardworking board, and to our interim superintendent, Dr. Borishade.
Borishade.
Borishade. Let me get it correct. We do have 2 of our citizens here for public comment. They have been made aware of our guidelines that we are enforcing. I will reiterate that you have 3 minutes to address the board, and please refrain from speaking derogatorily about anyone. First, we have Irma Nevels.
Good evening. 2 things I've heard, which is I agree on. I'm glad that there's some communication being made about our pension. But I also have some news now. It's coming from Missouri Independent that St. Louis, they're trying to get St. Louis back together again. They've been doing that. They did work on it in 2014 and 2016. But now the talk is they're trying to merge all the pension funds together into one. And this is not just random, just something that's going out there, but you need to investigate on that because they're kind of like moving forward on this something, the issue to move and merge St. Louis public school system and with all the rest of the county. And this happened in 2014, and I questioned the state appointed board about this. They said nothing like this is going to happen, but now it's reoccurring again. And so it is true. And that 63% funded, if you don't do anything, I'm glad that you are doing something because the state is ready to do something. And so that's going to happen also. The only thing that I can say is I also put in a request to know about the consent agenda. And that, I already have that information ready to go to the Attorney General to make sure that I know what's going on. You need to tell me where I can find what's on the consent agenda before I get here so I can read it. If not, I will go forward because everything is in place. Thank you.
And Mr. Chester Asher.
Thank you. I'd like to thank the board for presenting quite substantially in terms of the length of time on academics. And so thank you for that. But we still need more nitty-gritty, more data, more benchmarks, more progress. Because despite, I think, the perception that this board leadership in particular tries to portray, this district is failing. This is the third year in a row the APR has been below 70%. According to DESE, this district should be unaccredited. Sadly, DESE is as problematic when it comes to accountability as you are when you consider your former superintendent. And they're not holding you accountable, and the only ones suffering are the kids. I heard here, it's funny how you split data to talk about improvements, because according to the Post-Dispatch, ELA scores declined by 1.5%. Math scores declined by 0.5%. So whether you're looking at different subgroups or just improvement in terms of the percentages that met their goals, this district is getting worse academically. You want to market more kids to come to enroll in SLPS? Improve your academics. Kids can't read. I don't know if you saw the article about students at Bashan reading on the 4th grade level. Because not everyone can come to a Gateway STEM, because it's a magnet school. Not everyone can come to the #1 school, high school in Missouri. Not everyone can go to Metro. Because they're magnet schools, you have to apply, and most of our children don't qualify for those schools. So what are you doing for the rest of most of the kids in this district that are failing? 13% of black kids are reading on grade level. Yet, this school board does not present any comprehensive plan. You talk about a Saturday school that has 50 kids who attend. This district has thousands of children. What are you doing for the thousands of children instead of coming here and talking about the 50 kids you have in Saturday school and the improvements that they may be making, and trying to fool the public to make it seem as though you're doing something. You're doing something for 50 kids. I'm calling on the public to vote this board leadership out. The elections are this April. Coalition of STL Kids is putting forth candidates to replace this board. We'll have a press conference at the Board of Elections on Thursday at 11:20 a.m. Because we can't wait. We can no longer tolerate this level of failure. Our kids deserve better.
I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a
go into closed session.
I'll make a motion to adjourn to open session and return to closed session pursuant to Missouri Revised Statute, Section 610.021, subsections 1, 2, 3, and 13 for discussion of personnel, legal, and real estate matters.
Second.
Ms. Harry.
Mr. Hikes?
Yes.
Ms. Weiss?
Yes.
Ms. Hubbard?
Yes.
Ms. Fowl? Ms. Jones?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Ms. Cousins? We are adjourned.